bhāgavata-sevayā bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki durlabhamanasho deho dehinam shana bhangurai tatrapi durlabham manye vaikuntha priya darshina gurve gaurachandraya radhikaya tadalaye krishnaya krishna bhaktaya tadbhaktaya namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Vasudeva Katha Krishna Purusham Stringpanati Vaktaram Prichakam Shrotram Satpada Salilambitam. Anantaraj Bhagavatam Puran Ki Jai. So thank you so much, dear worshipable devotees, again for joining. We are reading Canto 10 of Srimad-Bhāgavatam, and today we'll begin a new chapter, Chapter 2, entitled Prayers by the Demigods for Lord Krishna in the Womb. In the last chapter, we were primarily discussing about how Parikshit Maharaj expresses eagerness to hear the activities and pastime of the Lord. Shukdev Goswami glorifies the great Parikshit Maharaj and his great heritage. Then there was the Vivah of Vasudeva and Devaki, and then Kamsa's minds change. And then we discussed the great qualities of Vasudeva, his ability to speak in the time-place situation. Tried his best to convince Kamsa in the first attempt, didn't happen nicely. And he didn't change his mind. Finally, Vasudeva said, I will give you one child after the other, which he did as soon as the first child was born. And then one after the other, every year he would keep his promise, and multiple children were killed by Kamsa. So now we will read the fresh chapter, chapter 2. I'll read the summary, and there's we can read the. Okay, I'll read the first two paragraphs. As described in this chapter, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead entered the womb of Devaki to kill Kamsa, all the demigods understood that the Lord was living within the Devaki's womb, and therefore in veneration they offered him the Garbhastuti prayers. Kamsa, under the protection of his father-in-law, Jarasandha, and with the help of his demoniac friends, Pralamba, Baka, Chanura, Trinavrata, Aghasura, Mushtika, Bana, and Bhaumasura, began oppressing the members of the Yadu dynasty. Therefore, the members of Yadu dynasty left their homes and sought shelter in such state as Kuru, Panchala, Kekaya, Shalva, and Vidarbha. Only some of them stayed with Kamsa as nominal friends. After Kamsa killed the Shadgarbhas, the 6 sons of Devaki, one after another, Anantadeva entered Devaki's womb and was transferred to the womb of Rohini by the manipulation of Yogamaya, who was following the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord himself, who was soon to appear as the 8th son of Devaki, ordered Yogamaya to take birth from the womb of Yashoda Devi. Because Krishna and his potency Yogamaya appeared simultaneously as brother and sister, the world is full of Vaishnavas and Shaktas. And there is certainly some rivalry between them. Vaishnavas worship the Supreme Lord, whereas Shaktas, according to their desires, worship Yogamaya in different forms like Durga, Bhadrakali, and Chandika. Following the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yogamaya transferred Baladev, Sankarshana, the 7th child of Devaki, from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. Because Sankarshana appears in order to increase the love of Krishna, he is known as Baladeva. One may take auspicious strength from him to become a dear a devotee of the Lord, and therefore he's always known as Balabhadra. Balabhadra. Okay. Yeah, maybe one more devotee can read the rest of the summary, and then we'll begin the verses.
I can read, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, devotees, Dandavat Pranam, close to Srila Prabhupada. After Yogamaya transferred the seventh child of Devaki to the womb of Rohini, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared within the heart of Vasudeva and transferred himself into the heart of Devaki. Because the Lord was present in her heart, Devaki, as her pregnancy continued, appeared effulgent. Upon seeing this effulgence, Kamsa was full of anxiety, but he could not harm Devaki because of the family relationship. Thus, he began indirectly thinking of Krishna and became fully Krishna consciousness. Meanwhile, because of the Lord's presence within the womb of Devaki, all the demigods came to offer the Lord with prayers. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, they said, is eternally the absolute truth. The spiritual soul is more important than the gross body, and the super soul, Paramatma, is still more important than the soul. The Supreme Godhead is absolutely independent, and his incarnations are transcendental. The prayers of the demigods glorify the exalted devotees and explain the fate of the persons who superficially consider themselves liberated from the conditions of material nature. A devotee is always safe. When a devotee fully surrenders at the lotus feet of the Lord, he is completely liberated from the fear of material existence. By explaining why the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends, the prayers of the demigods clearly confirm the Lord's statement in Bhagavad Gita 4.7. Yada yada hi dharmasya jnanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanyam srujamyam. Whenever and wherever there is decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of religion, at that time I descend myself. Report. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for the nice summary. So I guess let's dive deeper into these wonderful nectarian verses which describe the descent, the prayers by the demigods. So let's start with the first two verses. Anyone wants to read?
I can read, Prabhuji. Also, devotees, Dandavat Pranam, all of Srila Prabhupada, text 1 and 2. Śrī Śuka Vacho, Pralamba Bako, Chanuro, Trinabhata Mahāshanai, Musti Karisto, Dibidha, Putanakeshi, Denukoi, Anyascha Shura, Bhu Paloi, Bano, Bohum Vadibhir Utaya Uda Nam Kadanam Chakre Bali Magdho Samasya. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Joy. Shukdev Goswami said, under the protection of Magdharaj, Jarasandha, the powerful Kamsa, began persecuting the kings of Jadu dynasty. In this, he had the cooperation of demons like Pralamba, Bako, Chanura, Trinavarta, Agashura, Mustiko, Orishta, Dividha, Putana, Keshi, Dhenukko, Banashura, Narakashura, and many other demonic kings on the surface of the earth. Purport. The verse supports the following statement given by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita 4.7 and 8. Jada jada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata obuthanam adhamasya tadattanam srijami aham paritranaya sadhanam vinasya duskritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami juge juge. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of e-religion, at the time I descend myself. to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion. I advent myself millennium after millennium. The Lord's purpose in maintaining this material world is to give everyone a chance to go back home, back to Godhead. But kings and political leaders unfortunately try to hinder the purpose of the Lord, and therefore the Lord appears either personally or with his plenary portions to set things right. It is therefore said, Garbham Shanacharya Rohin Devaki Yoga Maya Tashai Kukshim Gato Krishna Divitayo Vibhu Dhi Stutha. Krishna appeared in the womb of Devaki after transferring Baladev to the womb of Rohini by the power of Yogamaya. Yudhubhi Sha Vyadhuto. The kings of the Yadu dynasty were all devotees, but there were many powerful demons such as Shalo who began to persecute them. At that time, Jarasandha, who was Kamsu's father-in-law, was extremely powerful, and therefore Kamsu took advantage of his protection and the help of the demons in pursuing the kings of Yadu dynasty. The demons naturally appeared more powerful than the demigods, but ultimately, because of help received from the Supreme Person of Godhead, the demons are defeated and the demigods are triumphant. So, with the guidance and power from father-in-law Jarasandha, the Kamsa, with the help of all the Danav demons, tried to persecute the Yadu Vansha, but as you know, ultimately the demons are defeated by the Lord to protect his devotees. As you see in the Kurukshetra war, even the Kauravas has more armies than the Pandavas, but as Lord Krishna was showing with the Pandavas, so Kaurava has to be defeated. So Krishna Shiva, so he'll protect us always, his devotees. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. So many names of demons are mentioned, which will come later also in this 10th canto. Bakasur, Chanura, Aghasur, Mushtika, Arishta, Durivida, Putana, Keshi, etc. So Kamsa had like a whole team of demons, very, very powerful demons. And he was like creating havoc on the surface of the earth and troubling even the demigods. So, very nice lesson here in the last line. The demons may appear powerful, naturally more powerful than the demigods. The demons inside our heart, because all these demons are also demons inside our heart, may many times, Mahashano Mahapapma, these are very, very great, very, very difficult to overcome. Devi Esha Gunamai Mammaya Duratteya, very, very difficult to defeat these demons for a jiva like us. But Krishna is mentioning, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here, because of the help received from the Supreme Lord, the demons will be defeated. In short, when Krishna is on our side, then it is not difficult to defeat the demons. When we run alone, it's a race. When God runs with us, it's grace. So we cannot overcome these demons on our own. So we certainly need help from the Supreme Lord. We need to beg for that help. And chanting is basically begging for the help. Lord, please purify me. Please engage me in your service. I have a lot of demons of lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, illusion. So many anarthas I have in my heart. please you help me so I can become a pure devotee, so I can become a pure servant, so I can serve purely. Then the Lord will be able to defeat the demons inside our heart. We cannot do it on our own. We need divine intervention. So, any other comments anyone has in this text?
Yeah, just one question. Regarding Baladeva, he is the seventh child, or is he the seventh child was transferred to Rohini?
Correct.
Okay. So how did, maybe it'll come later, but how did Kamsa not miss that?
Yeah, it will come later.
May come
Basically,
later.
it was,
Yeah.
by the divine intervention of Yogamaya, it was transferred, and Kamsa felt it was a miscarriage. But it was transferred to the womb of Rohini.
Rohini, okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. You want to read, Prabhu, text 3?
Yeah, sure, I'll read. Hare Krishna devotees, text 3. Te pidita nivivisuhu kuru panchala kekayan salvan vidarbhan nisadan videhan kosalan api. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Persecuted by the demoniac kings, the Yadavas left their own kingdom and entered various others like those of the Kurus, Panchalas, Kekayas, Salvas, Vidarbhas, Nisadas, Videhas, and Koslas. Yeah, this is straightforward. So the demoniac kings are all pursuing the Yadavas and driving them out of the kingdom, and they had to go to the other dynasties where the friendly kingdoms where they were well received, or at least seeking shelter over there. Thank you, Prabhuji. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Shinu. Okay, let's read the next one. Yes, Nandini Kishori Mataji, you want to read, please?
Yes, Prabhu Dandat Pranam devotee, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Eke tamanurandhana nyataha paryupasate hateshu shatsu baleshu devakya augrasenina saptamo vaishnavam dhama yaman anantam prachakshate garbho babhuva devakya harsha shoka vivardhana. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Some of their relatives, however, began to follow Kamsa's principles and act in his service. After Kamsa, the son of Ugrasena, killed the 6 sons of Devaki, a plenary portion of Krishna entered her womb as her 7th child, arousing her pleasure and her lamentation. That plenary portion is celebrated by great sages as Ananta, who belongs to Krishna's 2nd quadruple expansion. Some of the chief devotees, such as Akrura, stayed with Kamsa to satisfy him. This they did for various purposes. They all expected the Supreme Personality of Godhead to appear as the 8th child as soon as Devaki's other children were killed by Kamsa, and they were eagerly awaiting his appearance. By remaining in Kamsa's association, they would be able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead take birth and display his childhood pastimes. And Akrura would later go to Vrindavan to bring Krishna and Balram to Mathura. The word Paryupasate is significant because it indicates that some devotees wanted to stay near Kamsa in order to see all the pastimes of the Lord. The 6 children killed by Kamsa had formerly been sons of Marichi. But because of having been cursed by a Brahmana, they were obliged to take birth as grandsons of Hiranyakashipu. Kamsa had taken birth as Kalanemi, and now he was obliged to kill his own sons. This was a mystery. As soon as the sons of Devaki were killed, they would return to their original place. The devotees wanted to see this also. Generally speaking, no one kills his own nephews. But Kamsa was so cruel that he did so without hesitation. Ananta Sankarshana belongs to the second Chaturvyuha, or quadruple expansion. This is the opinion of experienced commentators. So here it is explaining the why these 6 kids were children were killed so immediately, and how can a mama, uncle, kill his own nephews? So we see that the mysteries is it's because Kamsa had taken birth as Kalanemi, and we'll go back to this. I think in this chapter itself, why that was so. That's all that stands out. Prabhu, would you like to add something? Hare Krishna. Please elaborate.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Yeah, I think we discussed in the additional notes in the previous chapter this story about how they were. There are multiple, as there could be kalpa bheda because Krishna comes in every kalpa. So sometimes it's mentioned as the curse of a Brahmana, and sometimes it's mentioned as the curse of their own father, Hiranyakashipu. They were Hiranyakashipu's child, and they went to the demigods for some powers. And he was like, what? Now I'm there, why need to go to demigods? So he cursed them that you will be killed by your own father. So Hiranyakashipu's son, Kalanemi, became Kamsa, and grandsons became the Shadgarbhas. So that's the past. And Akrura, as mentioned here, that some of their relatives, however, began to follow Kamsa's principles and act in his service. Now, others are trying to run hither and thither because Kamsa is so cruel and has so many demons. But for a higher cause, sometimes we may have to take something which may not be directly aligned with, when we see that in the lives of the Rupa and Sanatana Goswami also, to protect the Vaishnavas at that time, they also accepted service under the Mughal king. It is not, they were rejected by their own society. They were given the Bir Khas and Sakar Malik, their names were changed, people rejected. But of course, bhakti is a state of heart. But we see that here from the great Akrura also, and we see the same principle in the lives of the great Rupa and Sanatana Goswami also. Quite similar, right? Because the Mughals were torturing at that time, and they really wanted these 2 intelligent people to be their finance and the home minister. So basically there was no choice pretty much left. So for a higher purpose, sometimes priorities or situations we may have to do things which, of course, that has to be done in Guru Sadhu Shastra. And by Krishna's mercy, Krishna will not test us to that extremes which we are not ready for. But what was the higher purpose here? The higher purpose was they wanted to see the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. By remaining in Kamsa's association, they would be able to see the Supreme Lord. He is the Acharya of Vandanam, the prayers of Akrura, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Vandanam. Is the Akrura's prayers. when he goes, later we'll see that when he goes to bring back Krishna, Balaram, how his meditation is so deep. So he's a great devotee, but working for Kamsa for this higher purpose. And then the seventh child is mentioned is there about Balramji, Antya. Any other thoughts or comments here? Okay, we'll read the next verse, text number 6. Yeah, who would like to read this one? It's a long purport, maybe 2 devotees can read. Yes, Bhasati Mataji, want to read the first half?
Dandavat pranam Prabhuji, Dandavat pranam everyone, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Text 6. Bhagavan api vismatva viditva kamsa jambhayam yadunam nijanathanam yoga mayam samadishat. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. To protect the Yadus, his personal devotees, from Kamsa's attack, the personality of Godhead, Vishwatma, the supreme soul of everyone, ordered Yogamaya as follows. Purport. The words Bhagavan api Vismatma Viditva Kamsajambhayam are commented upon by Srila Sanatan Goswami. Bhagavan Sayam is Krishna. Krishna's to Bhagavan Sayam. He is Viswatma, the original supersoul of everyone, because his plenary portion expands as the supersoul. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 13.3. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu varata. Lord Krishna is the Kshetragya or supersoul of all living entities. He is the original source of all expansions of the personality of Godhead. There are hundreds and thousands of plenary expansions of Vishnu, such as Sankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Vasudev. But here in this material world, the Vishwatma, the supersoul for all living entities, is Kshirodakshai Vishnu. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.61, Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. The Supreme Lord is situated in the heart of all living entities. O Arjuna, Krishna is actually Vishwatma by his plenary expansion as Vishnu Tattva. Yet, because of his affection for his devotees, he acts as supersoul to give them directions. Sarvasya chaham ridhi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. The affairs of the supersoul pertain to Kshirodakshai Vishnu, but Krishna took compassion on Devaki, his devotee, because he understood her fear of Kamsa's persecution. A pure devotee is always fearful of material existence. No one knows what will happen next. He is always fearful of material existence. No one knows what will happen next, for one may have to change his body at any moment. Tatha dehantara praptihi. Knowing this fact, a pure devotee acts in such a way that he will not have his life spoiled by being obliged to accept another body and undergo the tribulations of material existence. This is Vayam or fear. Vayam ditya phini veshtaha syat. Bhagavad 11.2.37. This fear is due to material existence. Properly speaking, everyone should always be alert and fearful of material existence. But although everyone is prone to be affected by the ignorance of material existence, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is always alert to the protection of his devotees. Krishna is so kind and affectionate toward his devotees that he helps them to giving them the intelligence by which to exist in this material world without forgetting him, even for a moment. So I'm stopping here. And here, Krishna is called as Bhishmatma, Viswatma. He is the super soul of everyone and situated in each and every soul in this universe. And Kshirodakshay Vishnu actually is the form as a super soul in everyone's heart. And Bhagavad Gita says that, and that Kshirodakshay Vishnu is situated in the heart of all living entities. That's what Krishna himself says that. And the material existence, like Prabhupada is explaining here, that material existence is it's a actually fearful event because the work in this material world a devotee or a person will do, that will give them the karma, and according to that karma they will get a body. Depends upon this, in 8.4 million species they will get one of them the body according to their karma. And so, but Krishna is very kind and he is very affectionate, because he always wants his devotee, he always wants his this living entity should come back to him. He always very, very affectionate to them. But everyone, Krishna also give free will to everyone. Now, but how this free will the devotee will use, that depends upon them. So there is no control. Krishna is giving that free will to them. Now that's up to them how they will use that. Back to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you are breaking.
Prabhu, we can't hear you. Now we can.
Okay. Can you see the screen? Let's complete the purport.
Yes.
Prabhu, you want to read the purport?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, please speak.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Lord says, Tesham ebanu kampartham aham ajnana jam tama nashyami atma bhavasto jnana dipena bhashyata. Out of compassion for them, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Bhagavad Gita 10.11. The word yoga means link. Any system of yoga is an attempt to reconnect our broken relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are different types of yoga, of which Bhakti Yoga is the best. In other yoga system, one must undergo various processes before attaining perfection. But Bhakti Yoga is direct. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 6.47, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatte no antaratmana Shraddhavan bhajate jomam shame yuktatma matta. Of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. For the Bhakti Yoga, a human body is guaranteed in his next existence, as stated by Lord Krishna, Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Brashta Abhijayate. Yogamaya is the spiritual potency of the Lord. Out of affection for his devotees, the Lord always stays in spiritual touch with them. Although otherwise, his Maya potency is so strong that she bewilders even exalted demigods like Brahma. Therefore, the Lord's potency is called Yogamaya. Since the Lord is Vishatma, he immediately ordered Yogamaya to give protection to Devaki. Hare Krishna. So in this part, so here we are seeing that how Lord Krishna is so affectionate to his devotees. He's always thinking about his devotees. In the first part, we saw that how Krishna is present in each and every atom, in each and every living entity. He never forgets us. He's always with us. And here in the first, that's Teshanu Eva Kampartham, in that verse, Krishna is guaranteeing that even someone has ignorance and forgets Lord Krishna, but he always gives the light to make sure that we remember Krishna. And we have to just listen to that. And we see that, I mean, we see that when we try to do something bad thing, somebody inside us, no, don't do that. This is not good. I mean, that is Krishna. But if our minds are strong, then we don't, I mean, listen properly. So, I mean, so we can see that we always get that kind of direction. This is not good. I mean, every living and especially the human beings. So here, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that Krishna is always sitting inside us. And I think Sudhir Prabhu one time, he sent one quote of Srila Prabhupada. He wrote to one devotee, this, Krishna, please remind me always to chant your holy name. Yeah, and in that, he's saying that, Prabhupada is saying that, Krishna, you are sitting within me as a super soul. You can put me into forgetfulness, or you can put me, you can allow me to remember you. Please always remind me to chant your holy names. So, I mean, we can see that Prabhupada was practically doing that. And he instructed us also to do that. I think that was a very good prayer. I mean, I see that when I remember to do this prayer, when I'm chanting, my chanting gets better. But when I don't do that, and my mind goes everywhere. So, I mean, that's my understanding, Prabhu. Please add or correct.
Thank you, Prabhu. I missed that prayer. Can you please share that again? Prabhu? What did you mention? I could not pay full attention. Can you hear me? You're on mute if you're speaking.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay, let me read that prayer. It was a nice prayer. Sudhir Prabhu sent it one time. Let me read it for you.
It is chapter 15:15.
So the prayer Prabhupada wrote to one of his disciples named Devananda. He said, My dear Krishna, please remind me to always chant your holy name. Please do not put me into forgetfulness. You are sitting within me as super soul. So you can put me into forgetfulness or into remembering you. So please do not put me into forgetfulness. Please always remind me to chant. Even if you send me into the hell, it doesn't matter. Just so long as I can always chant Hare Kṛṣṇa. So that was the prayer. Actually, Sudhir Prabhu sent that in this group. That's what.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing, and all glories to you and Sudhir Prabhu for sharing that. So wonderful. Prabhupada's purport are so excellent.
Prabhuji, can you please share this to the Bhagavatam group study group, the prayer?
Yeah, I think Sudhir Prabhu has that secret.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, please.
Yeah, is it not in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 15.15? I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. I think is this, no, Prabhuji?
Is Prabhupada mentioning this on the purport also? Yeah, this verse is 15:15. That's correct. I'm opening that verse. Yes. Yes, that verse is also quite pertinent in this connection. Basically, a devotee, a lot of verses of King Kulashekara were also in the same context. Oh Lord, may I never forget your holy name, right? May I always continue to chant your name form qualities. My mind is attached to talking about movies and gossips and things of the material world, but may you give the intelligence, the remembrance about your name form qualities, and give me the forgetfulness of the mundane stuff, right? So we can also certainly ask the Lord to help us out, because without the blessings and the Lord's intervention, as we discussed, these demoniac, controlling the mind is like a big demon. Mind is like a demon, right? For uncontrolled mind is the greatest enemy, right? For those who have not controlled the mind, that includes myself. The mind is a great enemy. But this enemy, this demon, can be overcome only by Krishna's intervention. So yes, certainly we can pray, and then the Lord will intervene based on the degree of the sincerity of our calling out, and help us out from the evil attacks of Kamsa of bad association, Kamsa of corrupted mind and intelligence, Kamsa of allurements, Kamsa of desires. Every moment we are being attacked by Kamsa in so many ways. So we have to be careful and always remain on guard. Any other comments, thoughts before we wrap up for today? Okay, so we'll pause here. Yes, Nandini Mataji, you wanted to say something?
No, nothing, Prabhu. Thank you so much for doing the class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Grantraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purana
Jai.
Adiki Jai Samavita Gaurav
Jai.
Chakrapasa.
Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.